Thomas Blanc,
Here.
Tim Davis,
Here.
Carl Lentz,
Here.
Carol Killian, Lawrence McDermott,
Here.
Ruth Traeger,
Here.
Bishop Derek Triplett. We have a quorum.
All right, we're going to start with the reports this morning, and since Phil's not here, we'll have his substitute.
I did my best to put on my Phil Ellinger makeup kit. So.
We'll take care of that.
First,
you may need to turn on your microphone.
How's that?
Yes.
I'd first draw your attention to the current issue of Florida Trend magazine. It shows the top 350 companies in the state of Florida by revenue, 150 private companies, 150 public companies. And on that list, at number 48 is Brown & Brown. And on that same list, at number 56 is International Speedway Corporation, both in Daytona Beach. When you go to the list of top private companies, top 200 private companies, again, this is measured by revenue. On that list at number 12 is NASCAR. And also on that list is Halifax Media Group at number 89, both in Daytona Beach. Further back in the magazine is an article that expounds on the recent successes of Halifax Media Group. So if you don't have a copy of this, we've got some in our office. I apologize I didn't bring extra copies, but you might be interested in that. As you know, Phil Ellinger retired May 11th, so I'm the county's new economic development manager, and I'm pleased to continue to be a part of your economic development advisory board.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Just to be clear, the Division of Labor in our community is consistent with what it was when Phil left, and that is the CEO Business Alliance and Team Volusia are the lead on recruitment, and we support both of those organizations as appropriate. Our focus now is in business retention and expansion, and we'll talk about an example of that later on your agenda. Those are all the prepared remarks that I have, Emery. Thank you.
Oh, Carol's here.
Carol is here.
Carol's here.
All right. Welcome.
Everybody's here just waiting on me quietly.
Well, actually, we get started.
I'm sorry.
We're sorry to hear about your mom.
Yes. I'm sorry, she passed away on Sunday, so we're making all those arrangements. We're going to be driving out this weekend, and it's been a tough couple of months, but thanks for asking, everybody. We'll head out to Texas and close things off, and might even bring my dad back here to live with us, so we'll see. So, have we opened the meeting yet, or?
Yes. Yeah, we
So we're
started.
on air?
Yes, we are.
Oh, good morning, everybody. I apologize for
Good
being
morning.
late.
Rob, yes,
Okay.
just gave his report.
We're over at Rob. We're over with Rob. Is he done?
Rob, did I walk right in the middle of you? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm finished. Thank you.
Yeah, you might want to reflect the change on the agenda.
Yes, I have.
Okay. You want me to give it?
Yeah, wait until
before I-
Kevin
let me
get
go ahead and
home.
do the, since Carrie's not here, I'll go ahead and
Jeez.
start my
Gets
report.
on
I had the
Friday.
same situation with my wife's dad.
On the Vision Foundation, we've had two major
Glad
emphases.
I'm not over there, you know.
The first one was the healthcare emphasis, which we had a symposium in March. The subcommittee, and what that was, to reiterate, was to help establish a methodology or a group of people who would help provide medical, at least primary, if not follow-up medical care for those who are the working non-insured. And there's a lot of them here. We identified a little bit over 20% of the population that work have no insurance. And they're in all different varieties of employment status and job classification. That effort right now, we had the chairperson of that group. She had her own health situation with her husband, so it kind of got a little bit waylaid, but we've had the ball picked back up, and so we're the subcommittee which volunteered for that forming, and probably in the fall we'll pick up that effort and go ahead and start working toward solidifying a group of organizations that would help us to get that. And that would include the medical community as well as other not-for-profit groups. The second thing we've been working on is the train station effort, the Amtrak effort. And about every 2 weeks on Wednesday, today's one of those days, we have a meeting here in City Hall. I think it's room 149. Is it changed?
Yeah,
Back?
you're correct.
It's 149.
That's today, right?
That's today at noon, and we will go over some issues with the train station. Today we actually have some drawings that come in from FDOT concerning the minimum standards of the train station, how they would fit in the Magnolia site. The Magnolia site is a preference site at this point in time, right down the street over here at Magnolia and Seagrave. And so part of the effort is going to be looking at that drawing, we're going to be looking at zoning and land use of the area, which right now is an industrial zoned area. Site acquisition and site acquisition might not be purchased. It might be lease, or might be easement. It could be a lot of different things. We have to look at that particular issue. Then where we want to go eventually is to have a actual building plan, so that once money is released from Tallahassee, FDOT has about $178 million for this. A lot of that's going to FEC for track repair and some other issues, but there will be money available to us. We're also, I had an interesting conversation with John Johnson last week, President Embry-Riddle, and one of the problems we've been having is trying to develop an operational budget for the station itself, because operation of the station will be the responsibility of the city of Daytona Beach, or a group, someone other than the FEC is going to have to be that. And I say that the city of Daytona Beach only because that's where most of the responsibility, most of the cities along the line have, the cities themselves have taken that responsibility. However, but we're trying to get someone to help us to figure out what those costs are going to be. And when I was talking to Dr. Johnson, I said, well, you know, there's a lot of small airports and FBOs in this country where your management team would be able to do a projection pro forma. Maybe though they have some of the same issues. You know, they have common area issues, they have maintenance, lighting, you know, you name it. And maybe there's some numbers there that we can develop from that. Certainly, airport's not the same as a train station, but there's got to be some common issues. So that's where we're at with this. I don't know when we'll end up. We've got some, one of the people that's involved in this issue locally is Sans Lassiter, and he's an engineer, traffic and engineer. So I think that we've got a good core group helping us. Jack White's part of it. Kelly White is representing the city commission, those types of things. So we've got a good core group. About 10 to 12 of us meet. I am probably the least qualified of anybody. The only thing it qualifies me is the telephone and getting people to serve. So that's the only thing. And at this point in time, that's the Vision Commission Foundation has taken that under wing in case there's any funds that need to be, we receive any funds, any grant funds, because we're going to have to be looking for some of them, because plans and all that type of thing take money. And even though these guys are serving at the goodness of their heart, eventually there's got to be surveys done and plans completed and lawyers hired and this type of thing, and then it's going to take a budget.
Any questions? I know that's really been, Mr. Sorkin has gotten involved as well with providing research for us and everything, so.
It's been a good effort.
Yeah, it's an uphill climb though. What room today did you say that it changed to?
It's 149B.
149B, okay. All right. Do we have any old business?
I wanted to bring up one thing
Okay.
about the brownfields. Obviously, our group championed the brownfield project in the beginning. I spoke with an attorney that specializes in brownfields in the area earlier this week, and he stressed the importance of incentivizing people to use the brownfields. It's somewhat of a difficult thing to understand, as we've all, when we were presented with this information. But brownfields, they don't have to be in contaminated areas. All they need to be is in this outline in a commercial area. And he said that nobody's using these incentives. I see that our application that we're reviewing today actually does utilize the brownfield effort, but I think it's just important that we get out there and stress the importance of using this. I mean, there's a lot of money to be incentive money out there for people. So,
Where are we with the brownfield thing? Because I know we were all instrumental in getting some of this going, and then they spread the area out a bit.
Yes, we've expanded the brownfield. We came through the board when we did that. Where are we? We have not established any new brownfields. They're the same number of brownfields that we had before. I am to bring J.R. Sloan before you, but we didn't bring him for this special meeting today.
Okay.
To talk about the cleanup that's happening on Clive Morris Boulevard. So he'll be giving you an update on that. We do have that conversation with companies that come to the city of Daytona Beach. We talk about the brownfield incentives that are available, and it's their choice whether to fill out the application and what have you. I can tell you I work very, very closely with the County of Volusia. I'm going to say every manufacturing company that is located within the brownfield, we have that conversation with them.
Okay.
But it hopefully we're going to bring two fairly immediately, and one big one, the hotel development one, is going to come before you. We have one company today. We'll be talking about hotel development. There's a first phase and a second phase, and so yeah, we're having those conversations.
Okay.
And you're exactly right. Incentivize persons to utilize the brownfield incentives, not only those incentives, but to develop and redevelop within the city of Daytona Beach. One of the issues, I'm going to bring this up as we talk about the Econo Lodge Holiday Inn project, is how do we incentivize small businesses to grow? And as you know, we have our incentives are kind of tied to, well, except for ad valorem tax, are tied to the state criteria for developing at least 10 jobs, and it needs to meet a certain payroll threshold and what have you. And so the question has been asked at this forum: what about all of the businesses that are performing under that are responsible for some creative job growth? So we're going to talk about where we ought to be maybe heading as a board to try to champion something for that. So.
Okay, yeah, because I do remember early on, gosh, a couple of years ago when we first started the conversations, we had small business owners come to a couple of those forums we had, to explain what was going on, and then I wasn't sure if anybody ever really took advantage of.
Gotcha.
like I mentioned, the attorney said that it's completely underutilized. It's something that we need to get out, and it's been presented to the commercial real estate community. To Tim and I have seen the presentations there, but we need to sort of get the word out that these are incentives that are
Yeah,
fairly easy to get.
right. So, thank you.
Okay.
Our new business, we'd like to talk about the Crane Performance Products expansion.
Yes, good morning again. Rob Earhart. Just one final comment on the brownfields. I think it's worth noting that over the past 3-4 years, maybe longer, a lot of businesses have been focused on surviving and not necessarily growing. But your points are well taken, and now that our primary focus is going to be on retention and expansion, we're currently looking to see how we can take that effort to the next level. And how we continue to support cities like Daytona Beach in that kind of an initiative. So with that, as Emery said, we have an opportunity with one of your current manufacturers, Crane Performance Products. This is a company that you initially supported as a recruitment effort back in 2009, and they located initially just off of Mason Avenue. They've subsequently, in a lease facility, they've subsequently grown to the point where they outgrew that facility and needed to move to a new, larger facility. The facility they currently occupy on Holsenbeck, the former Radon facility there, if you're familiar with that, across from the Volusia County Health Department. So the company currently has about 30 people, 30 employees, and their application or their consideration for another expansion or for an expansion is to add 29 new employees over a 3-year period of time. So if you look at the paperwork that Emery's provided on page 3, you can see jobs created, 10 jobs in the first year, 5 in the second, 14 in year 3, for a total of 29. The county, so if I could just review the QTI tax refund program briefly. It is what it sounds like. It's a tax refund program. And QTI, Qualified Targeted Industry, the state offers this program for companies that fit into their definition of targeted industries. Manufacturing is one of those industries, so Crane Performance Products qualifies, and it's basically a 4-step process. And I think this is, excuse me, I think this is important because often people lose sight of the fact that first the company must apply, and their application must be approved by the state. Their approval is at the state level with the Department of Economic Opportunity. That needs to occur before the second step, which is that the company then decides they're gonna or they're not going to take advantage of that. They're going to expand or they decide not to, and then they're going to take advantage of the incentives. And we've had instances where the company has applied, been approved, and has not taken advantage of the incentive. I don't think those have occurred here in the city of Daytona Beach, but should the company decide to move forward with, in this case, the expansion and accept the incentives, then they sign a tax refund agreement with the state. It's effectively a contract that says they're going to do what they said they would do in the application. So that's step 2. Step 3, they then need to perform. They don't get any money until they perform. And then after they perform, for each year it's measured, and they submit documentation to demonstrate that they did in fact perform. Then checks begin to flow to the company as, again, a refund of taxes paid. So it's the performance part that I think that oftentimes people lose sight of. We're not handing out checks, on the front end for these companies. They need to demonstrate this job creation that they've outlined here. So this is because they are in a designated Florida brownfield, what you call the Aero Research Park. The opportunity for them really is twofold, both tied to job creation. The county has already passed a resolution earlier this month that would support this company 20% of the $3,000 per new employee that the company is eligible for. So that total dollar value for the QTI portion would be $87,000, and the county's share, 20% of that $87,000, is $17,400. So we currently have a resolution signed by Chair Bruno to that effect. The other part of this is the Florida Brownfield bonus. To your point, Tim, it's $2,500 per new to Florida job, and the city's share of that, the local financial support from the city's 20%. So that's the information that I think Emory has provided for you in the application here. The only other comment I would make is if you look back again in the package that Emory's provided, he's included a letter to Emory from Morgan Gilreath, property appraiser. The beginning of the second paragraph, Morgan's letter reads, Crane Cam's plans on purchasing the property. Purchasing the property is certainly part of their consideration, but in my conversations, our conversations with them, I would suggest that plans on might be a bit strong. They're considering the purchase of the property. And again, that's the second step of the four-step process I just went through. So
they're renting the property now?
currently renting the property, lease with an option to buy.
Who's that, who owns it, Joe Fisher?
Joe Fisher, State owns the property. So the company owner is working with Dick McNerney, the designated realtor.
Right.
The good thing about this is, as Rob has stated, it is based on performance. If they don't perform, they don't get the amount of the incentive is prorated.
Okay.
Who administrates that? Is that your office that administrates that, or is it the Emory's, or who administrates it on an annual basis?
Yeah, so step one is the application. It's really a four-part application. There's the first part is the general project overview. The second part is a QTI attachment. They're both completed by the company with our assistance, Emory's and mine. The third part is the resolution from the county, that local financial support for the job creation on the QTI. And the fourth part is the city's resolution, should they decide to provide that, the local financial support for the brownfield. Those four parts go to Enterprise Florida, final review, or approved by the state, DEO, Department of Economic Opportunity. And then to your question, Larry, after the company performs, DEO actually has the lead on, quote, administering that with assistance from the local economic development organizations, Emory and myself.
Okay. Good. Any questions, comments, Carl?
You said that that they might purchase it, but the actual improvements, the new improvements, that's a definite plan.
There's basically, they're considering a $3 million spend, and they roughly divide up at $1 million for the purchase, $1 million if they purchase to expand the footprint of the existing facility, and $1 million for new equipment. So it's possible that they could do all of that or some part of that as part of their final
I guess
decision.
my question would be that if they're currently leasing the building now.
Yes.
Okay, so if they continue to lease the building, are they still going to plan to put the new improvements in without a purchase?
I don't think I have the answer to that question.
So it would have to probably be Joe Fisher's, the state.
I think that's part of the business decision the company would make. So as an example, they could go ahead and purchase the $1 million or so of equipment if they choose not to immediately purchase the building and or choose to immediately begin to expand the footprint of the building. I don't know. Is that the question, Carl? Or?
It's not a definite that they're going to make the improvements.
I'd say that's accurate.
Okay.
I think you met Sean Holly. He's the president there back in 2009 as part of your consideration and recommending this to the city commission. Sean's a smart fella. He's grown this business pretty much from scratch. Again, going further back in history, an affiliated company, S&S Cycle, actually came in and bought the intellectual property assets of the former Crane Cam in an auction early in 2009. That company is based in Viola, Wisconsin. It's a large manufacturing firm, very successful, and so because of that affiliation with Crane Performance, there is additional manufacturing space available in the facility in Viola, Wisconsin that is being considered as part of how the ownership of these two companies, were to grow the Crane Cams entity. So again, they want to make a smart business decision, and it's possible that, again, it's possible they do nothing. It's possible that they were to locate some or all of it in Viola or all of it here. So the point is that this consideration by you and by your city commission, if you make that recommendation, is equipping the business owner with a complete understanding of how of the complete financial picture of how this expansion could or might unfold.
Right. I believe part of the business decision is having everything on the table and showing that to Viola. That we already have a great track record here in Daytona Beach. We've built, you might know that they promised 22 jobs in the first effort, and they actually created 28 jobs. I think 32 jobs. And they're promising 29 jobs here. We think it's going to be greater, but they like to aim low and improve on that. Again, this is a cog in the decision to take to Viola to say, hey, listen, we've got love in the city of Daytona Beach.
Yeah.
Let's make the investment of time, effort, and money, if it makes sense.
May I ask, this is probably a stupid question, on the diversity, when we do this, wasn't there a percentage of, whites, blacks, Hispanics, and everything that is supposed to be met? I
No.
noticed they only have 97%, what is it? A male and female, and then 97% white and
We did
free.
not specify that on our application. We asked for a report of
What it was. I was
where they
just trying to
are.
remember because I remember there were some discussions about before any of these incentives were given that we understand that they try to raise the percentages.
Sure. We can have a conversation about that, but our only statistic on the application is the residential hiring rate.
Okay.
So-
I'm not questioning that. I'm
Sure,
just
sure.
just asking generally because I remember talking about it at some point. So I didn't know if we had a set criteria. Probably not. Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments by folks? Do I hear a motion to approve this request?
Let me ask one more question.
Yes.
If we approve this, or we recommend approval by the commission, does this abatement or exemption, does it attach to the property, or is it just attached to the project?
It attaches to the property once the,
My question mainly being is if Crane Cams decides that they don't want to move forward with the purchase and renovation of this building,
Right.
is the tax exemption still attached to the property?
it's in the form of rebate after the project's done. And
Yes.
the check it attaches to the property, but it's only after it's been verified, correct?
That's my
correct.
question. That's what I want to make
That's
sure.
correct. Again, if they don't perform, they don't get the
Oh, okay.
incentive.
It's based
So
on
it's
the performance.
prorated on their performance. Yes,
Okay.
it attaches
Okay,
to the
and the
property.
reason I ask is because if they're paying a triple net lease right now and the project's not completed, but they have a tax exemption, they still get a major financial incentive,
Only,
a
only
rebate.
only if they
Only if it
perform.
moves forward, okay.
Yes.
Performs.
That was my
Didn't some of the other applications we have want to target a certain percentage of Daytona Beach residents of
This
new
one is
employees?
50%, which is higher than our minimum
I
of 20.
didn't see it in here.
It's on page,
It's on page 3, I think.
3,
3?
number 7.
Yeah. 50%, number 7.
Thank you very much.
I move that we approve this award based on facts before us and contingency of purchase or rental, either one.
Second.
Discussion? All approved?
Aye.
Aye.
All against?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. The next one before us is Ocean Sands, Econo Lodge and Holiday Inn Resort.
Yes, Madam Chair, let me set this one up a little bit. We have with us today Ephraim Silva, who will be speaking to you and providing a video. And this outfit has done some remarkable things on Beachside in terms of hotel development, redevelopment, and the direction. They've already done some of these things. So the direction we're trying to look at is how do we incentivize more persons to take this kind of initiative. Is there a way that we might be able to incentivize what has been done already? Okay. Now, the second part of that is this group has future plans to develop some hotel property over on the beach side, and they'll be bringing those plans. Well, he'll talk a little bit about those plans. Those will come in the second phase, and so they haven't done that yet, so that will fall in our regular program. One of the questions today is, what can we do to incentivize or reward or recognize or what have you businesses that on their own take it upon themselves to make this type of investment, particularly in hotel development and entertainment, two key pieces of our local economy. So with that much of a lead-in, I'm going to invite, with your permission,
Sure.
Mr. Silva to come before us.
Mr. Silva, welcome.
Good morning, everyone.
Just state your full name and address and all that stuff because of all the record keeping.
Efren Silva. I've been a resident of Daytona Beach since 2003. Live on University Boulevard, 515 University Boulevard. I work for Humphrey Management Hospitality. They hired me in 2009 they bought the old Inn on the Beach. Let me start that way. And they bought it from a bank foreclosure, $14 million. They hired a general manager to renovate the project. The general manager they hired was embezzling money, so they let him go. They hired a second general manager 6 months later, had the same situation. They let go of the second general manager. They hired me on as a project manager to close the hotel. The economy was not doing too good, so they wanted to close the hotel and just wait for recovery and possibly reposition the property and sell it in a couple of years. I convinced them not to close the property. It would just be an eyesore just sitting here on the beach, 200 rooms, beautiful hotel, or what could be a beautiful hotel at one time. And after putting my reputation on the line, they allowed me to run it as is for 1 year. We created some jobs, did some good things, cleaned up the property just a little bit. And I convinced them to give me $5 million. And 2 years later, we renovated and opened as a Holiday Inn resort just up the block. And we just opened last February. We just won a TripAdvisor award for ranking in the top 10 in Daytona Beach consistently in the last 12 months. We won a Renovation of the Year award with Holiday Inn, which is a nationally award. So we're doing some really good things in the area. The owners now got into the hotel fever. They set me on some project. We looked at some hotels in Clearwater, and I don't want to move to Clearwater. I want to stay in Daytona Beach. So I convinced them to look at the old Royal Beach Hotel, which is an old Ocean Waters Management hotel, if you know their properties. It was pretty bad. They had, out of the 50 rooms, 10 open operative rooms that were able to be sold at any given time. It was scary. We bought it for $750,000. We put $1 million into it, and we just opened this February as an Econo Lodge. And we just won a second renovation of the award with Choice Hotels. The reason I'm here is that the company is now looking at a couple of other resorts, a couple in Orlando, a couple in Tampa, and I want to entice them to stay in Daytona Beach. I take pride in living here, and this is a company that has capital. They bought these two hotels with no debt service, no loans. They bought the properties in cash. We did the renovations in cash. So both properties, absolutely no debt service, which is kind of rare here on the beach. We just bought the old Daytona Beach Ocean Sands, which is another pretty scary property if you know that hotel at all. It had 27, it currently has 27 violations, and we just got the approval to close, gut, and renovate that property. We're going to open as a Hampton Inn, a Hilton product, in January 3rd of 2013. So we have a lot going on right now. So here we go again. And the reason I'm here is I would like to ask for some sort of enticement that I can entice these owners, because now they have $24 million that they have to spend in the next year and a half. And I don't want them to look outside of Daytona Beach. I want them to stay here in Daytona Beach. We have two properties that we converted successfully, one that we are in the process of closing down in the middle of July, start renovations in the middle of August, and open in January. And since they have $24 million, I'm shopping around a little bit. We have been speaking to the owners of the Desert Inn, which is the second worst hotels according to TripAdvisor in the United States. And we are speaking to AMPAC regarding the 5-pack from Ocean Waters Management's old portfolio, the Plaza Ocean Club, the Mayan, the Conch House, and Residence Inn. So we are in conversations with these bankers and would like to possibly apply for tax abatement for the Daytona Ocean Sands property, the Hampton conversion. And so I can continue to keep the money here, keep the owners interested in Daytona Beach. They're a little bit weary of putting all their eggs in one basket, but I think I'm doing a pretty good job convincing them this is where they need to be. I like the fact that, again, there's no debt service, so there's not the old Ocean Waters Management mentality that you leverage the properties, then you file for Chapter 11, and you walk away. The properties are completely paid for. At the Holiday Inn Resort, we currently have 70 employees in the hotel. We have a full-service restaurant which employs 24 employees. At the Old Royal Beach, Econo Lodge, we now have 14 employees, and they had 6 employees before we bought it. And that's the reason I'm here today.
All right. Do you have a video, you said?
We have a video. Yes.
We have a video of the 2 properties that we converted to show you what we do. Most hoteliers renovate hotels. They change the soft goods, the beds, the carpeting, towels and sheets. We do a little bit more than that. We gut the properties to the bare frames and just start all over again. So new wiring, new plumbing, new drywall, electrical, toilets, tubs, and of course the soft goods, the beds, the comforters, and everything else.
You said the Ocean Sands is going to be a complete renovation.
Yes, sir.
Take it down to the cube.
Yes, sir. It definitively needs to be.
The most wonderful thing is that he said he's proud to live in Daytona Beach.
Yeah.
I live down that way, and I've been watching the renovations for months, and now that they're open, I see the cars parked all over. So you must be doing very good business with a good occupancy rate.
We're doing great.
You did a wonderful job. It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Both of them.
Thank you for the kind words. Our bed taxes have increased 240% in the last 2 years at Inn on the Beach conversion. So we're very proud of that. And the Econo Lodge is coming along. We just opened a few months ago, but we're in track to have a really good year this year.
Like I said, I've been watching it.
Thank you very much.
You know, I get my coffee every day from the 7-Eleven.
You're welcome anytime.
Is this a example of you build it and they will come?
You build it, you hire good staff around you, you create a good product, you advertise well, and carry no debt service, have a good reputation, and then they come, yes. So it's a combination. It's not only what I do, it's hiring the best of the best. We have a great front office staff, we have a great housekeeping staff, we have a great team all the way around. So it's completely a team effort from the owners down.
Great.
Absolutely.
Do you have that video ready?
This is the PowerPoint.
Okay.
All right, this is the old Inn on the Beach, as you recall, the old facade of the building. And this is what we are now. So we stand out just a little bit. Our goal was to pop as you drove across A1A, and I think we achieved that goal. This is the old porte cochere for the Inn on the Beach, before and after. And here we go after. the beautiful 1970s style furnishings that we have. And again, we completely gutted everything to the bare frames and started all over again. The old bathrooms, which had the old sinks outside of the bathrooms. I don't know if you remember the old Florida-style bathrooms in hotel rooms. And now we have granite countertops in every single bathrooms, granite tiles in the showers, granite countertop to the kitchens. And these are new kitchens, new before and after. Our lobby. And the back of the property.
How many rooms there?
187.
Okay.
And then we have a kids splash park that we added, was not there before. We have fire pits, a business center, a kids recreation. We do babysitting for kids. We do crafts and games, a little bit of everything. There we go.
Very good.
Is that the Kano? And this should be the property right next door, the old Royal Beach. It's before and after. The breakfast room before and after.
Wow.
The back of the property before and after. Lovely rooms before and after. That's one of our suites.
Wow. Excellent.
Well, next time we have a golf tournament, you have to give me some free rooms. Give them away.
Happy to help.
All right.
Madam Chairman, there's two reasons why your group ought to be really investing in Daytona Beach. Well, three reasons. One, prices are way down as far as property values. All those properties came on Frank Gillespie came on board about the same time, and so there's some good values out there. Number two, Shriners. 2017, we're going to have
Correct.
a bunch of guys in hats running around funny cars, which I think will be a big economic boom. Third, and this was just on, I get up early to read the paper, and I was reading the USA Today, and I was talking about the best waters in Florida, so I punched it up. And this is from the National Resources Defense Council, and you have to kind of drill down to get the information, but it said the beaches in Florida that have the highest number of what they call contaminated sites, which means nothing more than the water quality difference. Daytona Beach is, or Volusia County beaches is at 1%, which of the beaches, except for Collier, Flagler, Franklin, St. John's, and Wakulla, they were next ranked. So you know we're pretty low in the pecking order of having contaminated beaches. What it is, it's a reverse logic article. In other words, they're citing the highest contamination. We're one of the lowest, which means basically our beaches are very clean. We already knew that, but it doesn't. I don't know if this has made the Daytona Beach News Journal, but it was in USA Today, the article from the National
Right.
Resources Defense
Was that
Council.
today? Today's paper?
It's in the USA Today.
Great. Go pull that out.
But
I will.
you gotta go down and go down in the internet to get it.
Okay.
You can't just get it in
Ah.
USA Today.
Carl?
What contractor do you use for your renovation project?
We use Jim Macon for the two properties, and right now we are taking bids for the third property.
How do you go about getting the particular franchise, name?
It depends on the box that we purchased. For example, the old Royal Beach was perfect for an Econo Lodge because it's a 50-room limited service property. So it was a good fit for Choice Hotels. For the old Inn on the Beach, we looked at several flags. We were considering a Marriott, but they turned us down because they didn't want exterior corridors. They just want interior corridors. And so Holiday Inn was just a really good fit for us. And for the new box that we just purchased, the 94-room Ocean Sands, it's interior corridor, so we're going to go with the Hampton, and they just approved us. So it depends on the product, how many rooms, and the facilities, if it's full service, limited service.
Okay.
And if there's any other boxes of similar, for example, you have to be a certain distance away from another Hampton Inn to be approved.
Great. Any other questions? Anybody?
You would like to be bringing something back to your investors
I
from
would.
us. And obviously, you know, we want to wrap our arms around your investors and have them invest here rather than elsewhere.
I agree.
What do you have any suggestions for us as to what they would find to be, you know, the right incentives?
This is all new for me. I've been a general manager for about 25 years, and now that I've been pricing and looking at properties and going to different cities, what has been spoken of is TIF money from cities to entice people that have money to come into the cities and help beautify the properties. So I think some TIF money would be awfully enticing to a company that, again, would have no debt service, coming with cash, looking for a long-term investment. And again, some sort of tax abatement just to entice, I think would go a really long way.
Right.
Well, some of that money would have to come from CRA, which is not our bailiwick. We don't have anything to do with the CRA from TIF money. There are several new developments down there. There was one that was presented to the CRA a couple of weeks ago, which is basically the Daytona Beach City Commission.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what will come out of that as far as infrastructure and different things that they're going to have to do to make that project work, because it was a pretty involved project. But what's good for the goose should be good for the gander. You know, in other words, if that project gets infrastructure improvements for certain performance standards, and they might consider that on even and probably more especially on remodeling and redoing the properties. I was involved in a property in a different city on the beach, similar situation, where they took it down to the cube and redid it, and it turned out to be an absolutely gorgeous project and very successful. So, you know, we need to pass that on the commission some way to really look at that situation and say, well, if people are going to make that kind of investment in the property, then they need to have some sort of economic incentive to continue to do that, like your group is as well. It's only going to pay dividends. We've gone through 10 years of really ugliness here since the hurricane, say 8 or 10 years. You really need to pick up the beach, and it's starting to come. It really is starting to come.
I think since we don't really have anything specific to approve or talk about, I think generally speaking, we want to, you know, go forward with whatever we can do to help you, and then once you do have some specifics that you want to come back and have us approve, we would certainly, you know, entertain that.
What I'd like today from the board is consensus, not a vote at this point, that you would empower me to, that you would support providing an incentive to companies that are making this kind of investment in hotel development, attractions, and what have you. Let me have that conversation with the manager, with redevelopment, to see just where we are. We do have some projects that are, as Larry talked about, that are going to be using that vehicle, hopefully within the next, not too long. And certainly for the projects that are going to come after this, it'll follow that pattern for brownfield, for application for brownfield incentives. Where we are now is this company has already made a significant investment, and so I'm going to be asking the question to the manager and whoever, what can we do for this type of company? We have to limit the investment to within a certain number of years, and the investment must be, I think, sizable enough. Let's call it $5 million or more, and we'll put those kinds of criteria around it. If we can dress this up, I just wanted to kind of get a feeling from the board that you would support that kind of an effort.
Oh, I think we want to do something that will keep, like you said, keep you here, keep you growing in this community.
And signal to his investors that we
Right.
love
Absolutely.
this kind of.
I would think so. I would think that goes without saying.
I agree, Madam Chairman. One thing, Mr. Silva, you have a bit of problem with is that it is thought in economic development circles, at least in this area, and Rob can back me up, this has never been really a targeted industry as far as, because it's already been here. Generally speaking, I think you need to show where the jobs are, how much they're going to pay, and what benefits the company pays its workers. Because generally speaking, is historically those jobs have been some of the lower paid jobs with fewest benefits and that type of thing. And I'm talking about generically along the beach side, all in the hotel motel industry. Although Bob Davis would probably come over here and start packing. but it's never been a targeted industry, and so we need to look at that more thoroughly as we have been. Those jobs have declined since the properties have declined over the last 8-9 years. Probably need to relook at that. And so I would have you try to take a look at that, and because I think a lot of that's going to be a lot of any incentives are going to be tied to the economics of the issue. The other thing is the capital investment. If you take a property that's worth, let's say $1 million, just easy math, and make it a $4 million project, you know, the city, county is going to benefit that capital improvement of that property. So I guess what I'm saying is you might want to look at getting a kind of maybe working with Emory here or whatever to get an economic model which is going to basically tell your story in an appropriate manner.
Okay. On the application, I put a synopsis of how many jobs will be created roughly, but it's not just the low-paying jobs, are typically the housekeeping jobs, because you're hiring housekeepers every 6 months. They're sort of temporary jobs, but in regards to front desk jobs, they're permanent, good positions. Right. Would hire a general manager, an assistant general manager, a kitchen manager, front office manager, housekeeping manager. So there are many high-paying jobs as well that have been created and will be created as well.
I have the advantage of having some additional information, and the average annual wage for this outfit is about $25,000.
Oh, good. Very good. Any other? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You.
I would think that this, first and foremost, I don't know if it would be appropriate for his investor group to either yourself or somebody from them to come and meet with the mayor and the city manager. It might be a great thing to do, because I'm sure if they got to sit down with those two people, they'd hear how interested the city would be in working with your group. First of all, and second of all, kind of taking off a little bit on what Larry just said, I would think that the tax abatements, since you're buying distressed properties and improving them, then would your group be interested in abatements that referenced not taxing the new assessment? Say your starting point is it's assessed at $1 million now, paying taxes on that, and you're going to make it a $4 million property, and so that increase we would not tax you on, or we would abate that for a certain period of time. Would that be something that would...
Absolutely. At this point, I would like to throw them any type of bone that I can to just keep them here.
Because I would think that would, they're bringing money to the table and investing in our community, and how we can help them is by keeping their taxes low for a while, and that's that not taxing you on your investment, in other words.
Yes.
And I think that, is that the way you're thinking?
That's correct. And what we want to do is have that conversation and bring that back to you.
Okay.
But I don't want to
Yeah.
I don't want to push something that the board is not
Well, I think
behind.
overall, it's a very positive thing, so whatever you can bring back to us, we'll look at. I mean,
Great.
obviously.
Thank you.
I think
Yeah.
I think you would find that the city commission, in this case, would be dancing and celebrating that money is being invested in the beach, because we know that that's where we're lagging substantially. West side of our town is doing well, the east side of our town is not, and this is exactly what we're looking to see happen.
All right.
Great,
Well,
great,
Mr. Silva, we
great.
appreciate you coming today. We look forward to having you back again
Thank
with
you.
the next steps, and whatever we can do. Right?
Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. And anything we can do in regards to the hotel, please let me know.
Thank you.
I'd be happy
Thank you
to.
so much
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
you.
I don't think we have any citizens' comments. Do we have any other comments from any of the board members? We'll go around the table. You go, okay, Larry, Carl?
Good.
Yeah. Matt? We're all good? Rob? Next meeting?
Next meeting, that's right. We were not scheduled to have a meeting in June. We have had a meeting in June. We try to give you some months off during the year. The next meeting would be scheduled for July 18th, which is a couple of weeks away. I'm not sure if you want to keep that schedule or you want to meet again on August 15th.
I think the August is fine, and then you call us again, like today, if you have a special reason. Is that okay with everybody?
Okay.
All right.
I move that we not meet in July and our next scheduled meeting be August 15th.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Do I hear any other comments, suggestions? If not,
Move adjournment.
we're adjourned. Thank you all. And again,
Thank you so
I
much.
apologize for being a little bit late today. The rain held me up, among a few other
They don't have
things.
rain in Texas?
No, they don't. It's 100 degrees. So,
Bye, Rob.
Bye, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
oh, thank you.
He is really stretched.